Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today, we've got a nice blue Ford F-150, put some door locks in it, and gonna fix up the remote starter. Try and make it look a little neater. So stick around, we'll show you how to put these door locks in and take a poor install of a remote starter and make it look nice. So stick around, be right back. Alright, thanks for sticking around. As I was saying, we're going to be fixing up a remote starter and put some door lock kits in. Just your basic door lock actuators and wire them up. Because, well, this truck, it's a very basic Ford F-150. But the remote starter, somebody was nice and they installed it. It does work. But I think they were kind of scared to cut some wires. Because as you can see, this harness, no wires are cut. This harness, no wires are cut. And so on. And then we got some empty, just wires loose like that. That's actually the hood pin wire. So when I pulled it down, and before I started, everything was wrapped up in a mile of electrical tape, and everything was over to the site. So it was an average install for hopefully not a shop. But so now we're going to make it look above average and look like it's a proper install and go from there. So, but first, we got to get the door panel off to get to the inside of the door to hook up that motor. So, guess what I'm doing? Stick around. Alright, so here we are at the door card. We have two screws on the bottom here, and they are 6mm bolts. One, and the other's right here. Then, behind the door handle and the door latch, you have an 8mm. And like I said, behind the door handle here, you got another 8mm. So then you just start, I'm just checking, making sure that we're good there, because we still have our window crank to take off. And from there, it'll be popping the door card off. Alright, so this window crank, it has a T20 Torx bit, or Torx screw. So you just put that in there, undo it, and off it comes. Making sure not to lose that screw. That screw is probably as easy to lose as the old clips were to hold those handles on. And there we have it. So now, you kind of lift up, working your way around a little bit here and there. Before you go too far, disconnect the door lever cable here. Which a pair of pliers will work really good to squeeze the two ends together. So I'm going to do that, take the card off, and we'll get figuring out how to mount that the actuator on there. Alright, so as you can see, we got the door panel off. We got this vapor barrier peeled back a little bit. I'm not taking it all completely out. I don't want to risk damaging it. So when you do take this off, take your time, make sure not to rip it, tear it, poke holes in it. And that way when you go to put it back together, it'll still be intact just like the factory. Now as for the door lock, I figured out a good mounting spot for it. And right here behind this panel, you can kind of see it right there. You can see the wires coming out. And then I've got the push rod going up here to the door lock, and everything works quite nicely. So if I don't have it screwed in, so just holding it there, we do this, you can see everything's moving. Everything's working as it should. It's not going to stick out past the door to create issues with the door card. And I've even made sure that when I roll the window up, it doesn't bind or get caught. So it's not going to interfere with anything. So I'm going to go start running some wires for this. I didn't show much of the install of the actuator because unless you're doing this exact vehicle, that motor could be mounted anywhere from in this big opening to this same spot to even somewhere's up in here. It all depends on where it's going to be best suited for your application. So, but if you have this 2014 F150 just like this, well, right there on the inside, works wonderful. So I'm going to put some screws into it and we'll get some wire going, and then we'll show you how to wire up everything. Stick around. Alright, so we have this all mounted. You can see I got the two little screws right here that came with the kit going to our little block. The wire's starting to be tucked under there. I still have to finish going through the door jamb, but we're going to give it a quick demonstration here. You see how it's currently locked. Now it's unlocked. So that tells me everything's good to go. So now we can finish putting the wires through the door, and then we can start on the passenger side and continue with the wiring there. Not showing much of the wiring here because it's a very simple 2-wire hookup. You have your green and you have your blue wires. That's your lock and unlock. One's positive, one's negative when you want to lock it, and when you go to unlock it, it switches. So you just put power to the green, it locks it or unlocks, and then you put power to the blue and it locks or unlocks, does whatever the other didn't. But for us in this application, because how it's being wired, we've got to wire in a couple relays. So that's where I'm going to show you how to do those, how to wire up the relays, and then hook it up to the remote starter, and hopefully everything's going to work. So I'm going to get tucking some wires here and get started on the passenger side. So stick around, I'll show you some stuff there too. Alright, so here we are. We've got the panel back up, the weather barrier on. As you can see, no damage. We have gone through the door jamb, so all the wiring is still in the factory. Now, with yours or whatever truck you have, this one here has got a connector. So you got to find a couple empty spots on it. I drilled those out, ran the wire through the connector into the vehicle. You got to be real careful on this. Now, if you hit the wrong wire or drill the wrong spot, you could do some serious electrical damage to your vehicle. This one here wasn't so bad because it didn't have much in there. Maybe half a dozen wires, a couple for the speaker, a couple for the door latch, and that's about it. So I had a lot of room to work with. Yours may not. It's hard to say. So just take your time, double check before you even think of drilling, and then just before you drill, check again, And as you can see, everything's back together right there. The connector's all good, that's in there. So it looks almost just like a factory install. Only thing you can see is this one little spot right there, which everything still works. So I'm going to put this door back together. I'm going to jump to the passenger side and get that one going. And then we're going to get into the wiring. So stick around for that. Maybe I can show you something. Be right back. Alright, so here we are. Get ready to put the passenger side back together. I'm going to show you a couple things. First, that cable I was talking about. There we go. Let's get some light down there to show. You can see it has that blue connector on it. On the inside, you can see it has those two little squeeze tabs. You just squeeze those with a pair of needle nose pliers, and that comes right out, and you can take that cable out. Now, one thing I did run across putting the driver's side back together is I've got a little clearance issue on a couple of the door latch pieces. So what I've done is these two pieces here, they're the ones that go into those holes, and they ended up getting in the way of the operation of the actuator. So I trimmed them down a little bit to that way they clear the actuator, but yet they're still there solid enough to hold the door in place. Depending on what ones you have, you might have to do that as well if you go in that same spot, or you could get away without it with no issues. So it's just something I came across, thought I'd mention it, and go from there. So I'm going to put this door back together, and we're going to get running some wires inside the cab. So stick around, be right back. Alright, so we got the passenger door done. The wires are run, everything's underneath the driver's dash, ready to be hooked up. I told you earlier I was going to show you how the relays go, so here they are. Just like that. You hook it up like that, it'll work. Now that you're totally looking at it and saying, what the hell am I looking at? I'll show you. You have your terminals 85, 86. That would be your coils. And I've just decided to do the two outside ones because they happen to match the color of the remote starter. So you have your green and you have your blue. Both of those are going to be negative inputs from the remote starter. So then you have your other ones, your 85, 86 on the other side, each coil. Those are going to go to a power. So I've got them connected together here, broken down into just the one wire coming out. So now you have the negative that goes in, goes to a positive. That'll trigger the relay itself. Then you need the top ones here, pin 87A. Both of those are a 12 volt power. And as you can see, I've got them connected together, and then trickles down into just the one main power wire. Then you have your 87, your middle terminals. Those are ground. Both of those go to the ground. As you can see, again, I've got them connected down to one wire, so only one wire to connect. And then your two reds, those are your pin 30s. Those are the ones that go to the actuators. So basically the concept is when there's no power going to these, or no signal, both relays are sitting at ground. You trigger this one here, and let's say it's a lock button. You're going to have the lock negative signal come in, trigger the relay, come out the positive side, and it's going to move the switch inside the relay up to where this positive is. This now has a positive side, this has a negative side, so now you've completed the circuit, and the door lock motors are going to lock as what you pushed on the remote. Same as the other way. This here is your unlock. It'll send the negative signal in, trigger the relay, move the switch. It'll go from resting at ground and putting a 12 volt signal to it, telling the motor to do what it's supposed to, and in this case it'll be unlock or lock. So that's how it goes. It looks complicated, but it's really, when you break it right down, it's not too bad. Like I said, the 87A, that's 12 volt. The other side of the coil that you don't have for the input, so 85, 86, or 85 for both, or 86 for both, those are going to be power as well. So right there, those four, they're all 12 volt power. These two here, those two are your grounds. Pin 30, those two, they go to the motor. And then you have your green and blue, those are your inputs. So, see if I can't get a somewhat decent view for you. If I get real ambitious, I might even put a picture up there and draw one out for you, just so better representation. But in the meantime, we're almost done. Like I said, everything's all put together, everything's working. Now I just have a big old rat's nest down there to clean up and make it look better. So I'm gonna go get that going, take you along for the ride as we go, and see what happens. And in the meantime, go hit that subscribe button. 158 others have already done it. Why not have another couple hundred? Why not? Let me know how good I'm doing. Let me know what you think. Just even drop a comment or a like. But so till next time. Actually, what am I saying? I'm gonna bring you along for the ride so you can see the rest of this. So stick around. I'll be right back. Hey everyone, welcome back to the continuation of this 2014 F150. As you've probably seen, I've got a wonderful rat's nest right there. I think whoever did the install was scared of these wire cutters, because we have 6 feet of wire that goes here, twists through here, goes up and around, and then comes through this taped up section, to which, as you can see, they didn't even cut any wires there. I've already trimmed up this harness here, so that way there's a whole lot less wires. They still had all the whole bundle, which I had right there. I don't know what else. Like this one here, I mean, that's just kind of twisted around. This one here goes all over the place as well. I mean, I could take that outside the vehicle. We got all these way over here, so we're going to make this look half decent. Get rid of some of that extra wire and see if we can't make it look as good as it works. So sit tight, hang around, I'll show you what we do. Like I said, tons of wire, nothing trimmed up, nothing cut to length, all just kind of thrown in here.
So what you just saw, I was cleaning up this wire here, getting rid of that extra little connector that you might have seen at the beginning. I was looking at it, and I don't know how well you can see that, but there's starting to be some corrosion inside of it. So one of the wires actually broke the connector, so I had to fix that one. And I said I might as well get rid of this connector altogether. That way it's a little cleaner going in the back of the unit, and should hopefully start making things look a little bit nicer that way. So now that I've got this done, now I'm going to start working on like the brake wire here, our light wire that I think is going to stretch out to my Jeep out in the driveway. This brake wire I'm sure is going to go to my side-by-side, but we're going to get rid of them, make them a little bit shorter, tuck it all together, try and make it look half decent, and continue on. Because the more I look at it, the more right here, let's see if I can open that up, because I haven't even looked at this harness yet. Kind of scared to, but here we are. Nice green wire, not cut, not trimmed, not capped, just kind of there. So we still got a little bit more work to do to make this look halfway presentable, so stick around. Be right back. Alright, so here we are. We're back, continuing on. I've got this here cleaned up quite a fair bit. As you can see, it's a lot better than it was. There was only so much room I could move certain things without getting into a full uninstall, reinstall, and everything else. And I wasn't prepared to do that much. However, the one good thing I can say about this install is they did actually solder their connections. So, and it's not a bad solder job either. It's not just clumps of solder sitting on top of the wire, but so they actually did a decent job there. But I'm still hauling more wire out, and so I'm happy with the way it looks now. I'm going to tuck it in. This wire here, these are my two door lock and my lock and unlock wires. So I'm going to get them hooked up to these, which go out to the actuators. But I got to get the relays hooked up first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this mounted back where it goes, get the relays, get them wired and mounted, make sure they work right, and then show you what we have, and be able to call this one done. So now that you see where I'm heading, stick around and see where I end. Be right back. Alright, you're still with me? Perfect. Now I can show you what we've done. I've got it all tucked back up in there.
Hardly even tell it's there. You can kind of just see a little bit of the relay down there. And it's done. And what makes it even better is this. The door locks now lock and unlock the door like they're supposed to. So I'm going to put this truck back together. I'm going to kick it out, let the customer know it's done and ready. So if you like this video, drop me a like, drop a comment, even hit that subscribe button. If you're the installer that did this, I'm not bashing you too hard. There was a bunch of little things that I did see, like cut some wires, trim them up. That'll make your installs look a lot better. Like I said, you at least did solder them, so that was a bonus. And just kind of work on the wire management a little bit more, clean it up a bit. And if that was the case, I would have nothing to say about this, and I would have been able to do these door locks without touching the remote starter. But the big thing, if you don't need it, if that wire is not hooked up to anything, not connected, get rid of it. Cut it. Leave a little bit so you can connect a wire to it if you need it in the end. I know some people will de-pin the wire, but I personally don't like to, because if you ever do put it in another vehicle, then you've got to get a whole new harness. At least by trimming it, leaving a little bit on the end, you can at least hook a wire up to it and use it in another vehicle if needed. So, but like I said, if you don't need it, cut it, get rid of it. I've taken out probably about 40 feet of copper here out of this vehicle for what was left behind, and which is what I expected, natural, normal stuff for probably when this was installed. Now today's remote starters are a whole lot better. You don't need near as many wires, near as much, so it makes the installs look a lot better. But in the end, the customer did get the door locks on this one. It did benefit me leaving the wires in there because I had the lock and unlock wires needed. So it worked out. And the remote starter does still work, so the customer can even have a nice warm car to get into. So but this one's going to be done. I'm going to give the customer a call, let them know it's done. They can come get it. And I'm going to get ready to work on the next one for you. It's I got a couple powder coating jobs coming up, and probably a new stereo going in the vehicle. So I do have more content coming. So be patient with me. I'll get some more up. In the meantime, like I said, hit that subscribe button. I checked this morning. I'm actually at 159 subscribers now, which is even better. Let's see if we can't bring that up even more. So drop a comment, drop a like, hit the subscribe, and if nothing else, remember to keep it loud and stay warm.